Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with Daily Technical Update. It is Wednesday the 19th of March, and in this educational video there's no recommendation or advice whatsoever. And I just also have to say there's some construction going on in my building, so there might be some drilling noise and stuff in the background. I do apologize about that. Anyway, let's move on to Meta platforms that closed just a few cents below the 584 support, just above the 200 moving average. Negative sentiment on the RSI could could continue lower towards the 549 support area, and it is really in a bearish trend at the moment. Lower lows and lower highs seems to be moving lower. It really needs to get back above 642 to really turn around this bearish trend. Nvidia also, after the sell-off here on Monday morning, or it turned around here on the 17th, couldn't get above 125 and seems to be resuming downtrend. It will be confirmed if it's pushing below 113 and a quarter. And the Tesla also seems to be pushing lower and could be taking out the support here, 214 and a bit. This is support area here, and there could be downside potential to 182. If it takes out the highs here for the past week, we could see a push up to around 200 moving average, but for now it seems fairly heavy. Moving on to the broader market and S&P 500, well, yes, we did have a price flip on Friday last week, but it seems it can't really get momentum towards the 200 moving average and closing back below 5,651. That could be a sign that the downtrend is set to resume, with the potential down to around 5,400. If it takes out the peak up there Monday morning, 5,704, well, then we could see a push up to 5,783. On the Nasdaq 100 index, more or less the same picture really. Failed to close above 19,880. If it does get above this 19,000, the peak here Monday, 19,944, well, then there's potential up to the 200 moving average and 20,538. But for now, it seems to resume a downtrend. And if it takes out the lows here from the other day at 19,152, expect a push down to a sell-off down to around 18,400. Dow Jones index, obviously more or less the same picture. You can see here it got rejected at the 200 moving average and the resistance at 41,877, and could be resuming downtrend unless it can take out the Monday peak at 41,788. Then we could see, if it can't do that, well, then we could see a push down to around 40,000. European market had another good day yesterday, about 0.7% higher on the EuroStoxx50, and could be pushing towards new all-time highs. Here pre-market though, we are a little bit down 0.35%, as we can see. We are pointing a little bit lower, so stalling a little bit, and what you should keep an eye on is the RSI down here. It seems to be rejected at 60 threshold, despite the fact that we are still in a positive sentiment. It seems to be turning around here. If it can't close above 60 threshold, then maybe we could be a little bit of danger. It could be dragged down by the US market that is quite heavy. We had DAX yesterday. That, let's see, did it actually close? It didn't close at a new all-time high, but let's see if it's reached 476. Did we actually record? We actually did record a new all-time high, but we didn't close at a new all-time high. However, it is still in a bullish trend, and could push higher here in the coming days and weeks, unless it will also be dragged down by the US market. Here pre-market we are down about 0.5%, but still in a bullish trend. If it starts moving back below the rising trend line, well, then it could the top and reversal could be set in. Euro dollar pushed higher overnight and also this morning, but starts selling off despite the fact it actually peaked above the resistance here at 109.37. and yes, it did close above, but let's see if it can hold. If it slides back and takes out the lows here from a couple of days ago at 108.20, then we could see a correction down to around the 200 moving average and just around 107.50, 40 area. But we're still in a bullish trend, but we can also see we got some divergence going on there. So a little bit stretched maybe, but for now, still in a bullish trend unless we take out that lows we talked about. We have the sterling dollar. Didn't get all the way up to 130 and a half. Can still do that, but as you can see, the RSI is more or less flatlined and could try to be hit. Could be hit by a correction down to around 128. Euro sterling still in this range here between the between 83.60 and up to 84 and a half. Dollar yen testing the the upper falling trend line. It is upper falling trend line here. Can't really get up to the 38.2 retracement, 151 and a quarter, and the 200 moving average. But look at this, we have the 55 moving average coming down. It's probably crossing over in maybe end of the week or early next week. That would be another sign of lower levels for dollar yen. So I would not be too long on dollar yen, to be honest. This is not a recommendation, has to be said. Euro yen. Well, now it's testing the upper falling trend line from the upper side. Let's see if it slides back below. If it's moved back below 161, well, then I think downtrend will resume and we have a top and reversal in place. If it can stay above at the end of the day, well, then we could still see a push up to 165. So we are a little bit in a limbo here on euro yen. Sorry, Aussie yen. Now it's back below this. That was now a support, 94.70. Maybe it was a false break, and this double bottom-like pattern here, won't materialize. We didn't even get above the 55 moving average. RSI was rejected as a 60 threshold. It really needs to close above for a bullish trend confirmation, and I think we could now see it sliding back lower. So maybe that was a bit of a false break. However, if it can take out the peak from yesterday, 95.75, and above the 55 moving average, then it could establish a bullish trend. Sterling yen rejected at 194.85, and if it slides back below 192.5, then I think we will see downtrend to resume towards 190 and the lower rising trend line. On the Aussie dollar, well, let's just adjust it a little bit so we can see what's going on here. Really, we have didn't get all the way up to the 64.09 resistance area before selling off again. We are in an uptrend. We have RSI above 60 threshold just marginally. We have the moving averages turning around 55 rising here. So I think we will just whipsawing between, basically between 63 and 64 area. If it can get above 64.10, then expect to push up to around 65.5. For now, it seems to be struggling a little bit. We have dollar Canada. Almost dipped down to the 100 moving average. We are basically in a sideways range here between 142.35 and up to 145.50, and that's the range it needs to break out of. But still, there's really strong support down here at 141 and a bit. We have sterling Canada. Still in this correction phase here, still believe that we could see a dip down to 183.75, 183.45 area, and then we could see a bounce. However, keep an eye on if it starts to take out 187.50, it could push higher. Swiss franc, well, Euro Swiss is, as we speak, taking out the 95.64 minor support. I think we can see a push down to 95, 94.90 support there, and maybe even down to the 200 moving average that is coming in here, and the 55 moving average that we have here. I would say I would remove this one here. It's really obsolete now. It's a little bit, we do have a little bit of support. Let's just add that very quickly. Let's push that down there. So we have a little bit of support there at 94.90. I think that could be tested. Still positive sentiment, but there was divergence. So I think we could have at least this minor support there being tested, and possibly also the area around 94.5. Dollar Swiss also on the move. Yesterday testing the 87.65 support. If it takes out 87.30 minor support here, then I think we'll see it push down to around 86.15. And finally, the dollar index hovering around or below the 103.26-28 support. Now it's a resistance. If it can get back above it, it really needs to get back above these peaks here at 104.08 for a push up to 105, but I think that will be it. There is at the moment potential down to 101.86. However, see the RSI is turning around a little bit. If it starts crawling back 40 threshold, maybe we could see a bit of correction. So a little bit stretched in the bearish trend there too. Moving on to gold, that is pushing higher. It's almost touching the 176.4 projections at 3,050. It is a little bit stretched, but there's still potential up to 3,080 and actually 3,100. Be aware that suddenly you could be hit by sell-off, so be careful with if you go long from this. But it is in a bullish trend, could push higher. Silver currently still trading around the 34. If it really needs to take out 34.25 to push towards 35. And then we have copper. Sorry, seems my connection suddenly is a little bit slow here. Don't know what's going on. We have copper now about 500 or $5 actually, and is pushing higher here. And medium term, I also think that we see it will be pushing higher. Let's just change this to a weekly chart so we can actually see what's happening here. There we are. Really strong move towards previous all-time highs at 525. WTI crude oil got rejected at the 38.2 retracement and resistance at 68.42, and could resume. It seems to be resuming downtrend, and will at least is likely to test the 65.20 support. Same picture on the Brent crude oil, got rejected there, also at the $72, and seems to be sliding lower towards the previous low. We have the Dutch TTF gas or EU gas still range bound between 40 and 43.7 euros. We have Henry Hub US Nat gas also trading sideways just above $4. If it starts taking out 3.95, then we are seeing it push down to around 3.75, possibly lower. If it takes out 4.25, bullish trend seems to be resuming. Treasury yields, we have the US Treasury yields. Well, it's a non-story at the moment, just trading sideways here around 4.25 and 4.35. I think that will be the case for the foreseeable future, but we have negative sentiment on the RS indicating we are likely to see a push lower, and we can also see the moving average has started turning around, 55 moving average turning around. We are below the 21 and tucked in just above the 200 moving average, so it's a little bit hard to read what's going on at the moment. We have the 2-year also around 4%. I think it will start setting back a little bit here the next few days. The EU 10-year, we talked about yesterday that it could slide back lower to the 272, possibly all the way down to 265 support here, and then I think we'll see a bounce. But if it starts closing this gap here, then there could be a push lower. But I think it will bounce off and then push back higher. The UK 10-year still above the 455 key support. So as long as we are that, we are still in a bullish trend. But it needs to take out the highs here from a couple of days ago, 476 and the 480. The EU 10-year governments. EU 10-year yields sliding lower here, as we talked about yesterday. Could push down to 272, possibly down to the 265 key support. I think it will bounce from either this one or this key support here, and then I think we'll see a bounce higher. We have the UK 10-year that is also sliding a little bit lower. If it takes out 455 key support, well, then we could see a push down to around 445. But if it starts starts turning around here and taking out 480, bullish trend is set to resume. Moving on to finally Bitcoin and Ethereum. We'll start with Bitcoin here. We can see still hovering around sideways basically. So really not much to say there. I haven't said the past few days. Could still slide lower towards the 73,350 area here. We are in a bearish trend, and I would stay on the sideline. If it takes out 81,000, then I think we'll see a push down there. If it takes out the 400, 350, then I think we'll see a push up to 90,000. And Ethereum finally here, still the 1755, that is key support. A break below, then we're looking at 1500. All right, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this. I have a little bit of a technical issue. This seems like my line is a little bit bad, and I'm not sitting at home at the moment. Maybe that's why. And there's a little bit of a noise in the background. Have a nice day, and talk to you again later.